Hello and welcome to That's the Point. We're here, and you're here too, to talk about construction technology. My name is Corey Meyer, and today Matthew Lorenzana is back in the studio with us, so we didn't scare you off. So
no,
welcome
not
back.
at all. Not at all. Happy to be back.
We have more to talk about. So
That's
I mean,
right.
that's why we are here. And so we're kind of excited because today we are going to continue on the previous episode. Like the previous episode, we talked about just that intro to, you've got Scan Essentials that sits on top of SketchUp and really brings that point cloud data to life, and being able to just use it in a familiar interface or an easier to use interface that is SketchUp, to be able to manipulate and visualize your data. And so we kind of wanted to take that the next step today. And as we talk about what you can visualize and what you can look at SketchUp, the conversation, especially with scan data, inevitably comes back to floor flatness and understanding what a surface is doing with regards to its flatness. Because let's face it, like in construction, floor flatness is a huge, huge deal, especially in the medical space and the industrial space. That Z really matters. And so you've got actually a novel approach to this within Scan Essentials in SketchUp to look at some floor data and easily understand the space, maybe outside of what we would traditionally know and be familiar with field link reporting and those type of items. So I'm guessing you have a scan cloud, a point cloud right here of a surface?
Yeah, that's right. So here we have a sectioned off point cloud of a hospital floor, basically using it to get a better idea of how flat the floor is. So you can determine what the high spots are and what the low spots are. Here right now I have it showing as its true color, but I think in order to get a better understanding of where the high and low spots are, you want to switch it over to the color-coded elevation.
Yes, that's a little more better
view of it, so you can kind of get a better understanding of where those high spots actually are and where those low spots are, and also, of course, where the stations were taken.
Yeah, it just feels a little bit more familiar.
Exactly. Yeah. So using the Scan Essentials toolbar, kind of harping back to what we were working on in the previous episode, you can actually create guides on top of your point cloud. You can use them for mainly two things. One is to create XYZ coordinates and kind of point them out of where specific points are inside of your point cloud. The second reason is to kind of help you for those parts of the point cloud that are more complex edges, maybe smaller areas that are kind of busy, kind of jumbled. It's maybe hard to snap to the correct points that you want to draw on top of. These guides can kind of help you, instead of snapping to the points in the point cloud, you can snap to the SketchUp geometry instead. For example, let's say we want to get a better understanding of 3 separate points and how different they are in elevation across different points of this hospital floor. We can create 3 separate guides. You can see here I'm just snapping to different areas and different points on the point cloud, all at different elevations. And then you can actually call out you can specifically snap to the guide point and then call out the X, Y, and Z coordinates of that specific area. So here, this is all in inches, so you can see we have the X, Y, Z. So
the Z is obviously what we're interested in here.
Exactly. So we have it at about 12.2063 inches in height. I'll snap to the other guide point now. Here we have one that's 11.9166 inches in height. And then here we have one that's 11.4563 inches in height. So all relatively close to each other in terms of Z, because we're working with inches here. But you can kind of see how that variation is across 3 different areas on that same hospital floor.
And this is just this is really exciting because this is a much more like in the data set kind of approach to this. We're familiar with the field link reporting. We're familiar with FFNL that we can get out of those. But this is for, especially from a design or from someone who's not in that floor flatness reporting every day, this is a very easy and accessible way to understand what that floor is doing and what at the end of the day, what we're actually dealing with deltas. Now, you're doing this in a local coordinate system, but you can easily map a different coordinate system to it as well. If you had a different elevation or something like that, you can bring that in to SketchUp as well, right?
That's right. So if you're working with a local control file inside of your building, you can bring that over into SketchUp so that the X, Y, and Z coordinates will match what you have out there on the site.
Yeah, so it could be familiar to any of the data sets that you have, any of the plan sets that you have, you can easily map that in. But it's just a simple numerical thing. You saw how easy it was to set up. You're not pulling planes or anything like that. No. You just bring the data in, and it just works. They say that a picture is worth 1,000 words. And in this case, in floor flatness, like a lot of times a picture can be worth thousands of dollars as well. Matthew, thank you. I mean, this is a totally different avenue that I never thought of using SketchUp for. Simple, relational measurements and everything like that. I love it. So thanks for taking the time.
Of course.
You got one more in you?
Of course.
There we go. All right. So if you have any questions and would like to dive more into this topic, make sure you reach out to that local building point representative. They are there for specifically these types of conversations. And don't forget, smash that subscribe button to stay up to date with the latest tips, tricks, and pointers. We'll see you next time on That's the Point.